I know looking back already, just on what I remember saying about the Dame trade, I know I've overreacted and overhyped DeAndre Ayton a little bit. That much is obvious and for sure. I'm not going to walk back any of the statements I've made. I still think, like, if they want him to be something and they want to feed him the ball, you know, he theoretically can be an amazing player. There's something about his motor that is just depressing, I guess, because he has the talent to be good, and you don't want him to force it, but there's got to be a way to get actions with him running the pick and roll more. Like, you have to force him to work more as a basketball player, and he's not an amazing defender, so he needs to supply a lot on the offensive end to be like a franchise cornerstone center. And I'm still going to believe in him, and maybe it's naive and it probably is, but I really want the Blazers to be good. I don't think I'm going to even address Scoot Henderson. He obviously has had a rough start to the year too, with injuries and rough performances. It's way too early to overreact to the name trade. It's weird that Jeremy Grant is kind of just like stuck there. I mean, it's basically the same thing that happened in Detroit. I was watching a Motown Noah video. You have to pay a guy, was what he was talking about, was the concept. You have to pay someone, and they're just like, all right, Jeremy Grant, you're going to be the guy who can give us 20 a night. You're going to give us 23 points per game. That's what he said. And I think that's so funny, but it's literally what they both have done, except the Pistons had him on an objectively better contract, and the Blazers are kind of stuck with him for, what was it, like 160 mil over 4 years. It was ridiculous. It was a fat paycheck for that man, and happy for him. Power to you. Good for you. But also, yikes, it's a lot. It's a lot of money to pay a guy. It doesn't really matter though right now, because you have all this talent that's, at the end of the day, not really going to need extensions or payment yet. And I think the Jeremy Grant timetable kind of lines up perfectly. You're either going to re-sign him on a cheaper deal, or you're going to let him go somewhere else, or you're going to trade him. But I don't know how you trade a contract like that without taking on an equally bad contract. So I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how the Blazers do this. Um, the Rob Williams injury just breaks my heart, though. That breaks my heart. Just with the Rob Williams thing, um, that's the other knee. And I know he had like bad, you know, injuries in college, and this was a risk for him. That's why he fell so far in the draft, and the Celtics got him at like 27, because of the fact that he was injury concern. But just he's one of those guys that you just look at and you're just like, holy fuck. I mean, he jumps out of the goddamn gym, he blocks like into the second deck, he's so quick, and he's such a good passer. Like, he's obviously not a Nikola Jokic passer, but like, he knows how to read the floor. And when I watched him play with the Celtics, it was just an absolute delight. The offense played so well with him. And it's funny because they definitely miss him now, but they miss him even when he was on their team, because he can't stay healthy. And that sucks. That really sucks. Because now you just have Malcolm Brogdon for, Drew Holiday straight up, basically. And that's not good. That's not what they wanted in return. Obviously, you got the first round picks. Like, I'm not going to discount that, but like, it sucks. It really sucks, because not that the Blazers were ever going to have anything this year, but that injury really is the nail in the coffin for the Rob Williams experience. That from here on out, he's got two surgically repaired knees that, he's just not going to bounce like that anymore. Pause. But like, seriously, he is battered, and he's like, what, 26? So yeah, it sucks. It really breaks my heart, because Rob Williams is just an electric player, and you just know there's only so many of these that you can endure while still being, a good NBA player. And he's developed the jumper. At least he's adapted his game that he will always be able to play in the NBA. And he is strong. Like, it's not like his only thing was that he was an athletic freak, but he came into the league an athletic freak, and he just had the craziest highlight reel. It's like Kai Jones's highlights on crack. It was awesome. It was truly an experience, and it's unfortunate that version of the Rob Williams experience is dead forever. I hope he has a good recovery, and I'm always gonna root for him. So let's hope he gets better. But yeah, that's just a weird time to have all these injuries happen when especially with the Brogdon thing. What are you going to do with Malcolm Brogdon? He had the number 94 because he thought you guys were going to trade his ass. And now he's like, oh shit, I'm still here. I'm not wearing that. And switches to 11, which was kind of funny. But seriously, like, are you not going to try and get like a first? Or I don't know if Malcolm Brogdon's worth a first, but you could get a whole bunch of draft picks, or maybe you can package it with something. Like, you can flip him for some assets because I believe his contract expires at the end of the year. So, yeah, don't know if an expiring contract is worth a first, but hey, what are you going to do? The Trailblazers just started their rebuild. There's no reason to overreact, but these are the types of things that derail and set back these types of rebuilds, or, just make you the Chicago Bulls and just force you into this mediocrity. The same thing happened with them and Lonzo. Don't forget that. Like, they almost made it work. Like, they were a really high seed with Lonzo accompanying the backcourt with Levine, and then you had DeRozan and Vucevic. Like, that's a good team. And anyone who says it's not a good team, it probably wasn't going to contend. But do you remember that brief period where DeMar DeRozan was going and just hitting game winners on everyone? That was a good time for Bulls fans. I don't think they've had a good time since. So that's why these types of things are important. I'm not trying to overreact. Like, the Blazers rebuild is not going to live or die based on this moment. Like, it just started. But maybe it's better, and maybe they'll be a worse team because of it, and they'll get a higher pick, and they'll get to draft somebody good. We'll see what they can salvage out of this rebuild. Obviously, it doesn't look good to start, but no rebuild does. So, we'll see what happens.